I know you don't, but be
Please
careful.
go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Laura Richards, the Wildlife Diversity Division Chief. I'm going to have Larry Neal, who's our staff specialist, present item number 12.
Excellent. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Larry Neal. I'm a staff biologist in the Wildlife Diversity Division, and Laura's asked me to present to you the proposed Commission Regulation 11-01, 2011 and 12 seasons and quotas for taking raptors for falconry. With reference to item 12 in your support materials for the 2011 and 12 raptor take seasons, we have proposed no changes in limits, seasons, or quotas from the 2009 and 10 regulation. The only proposed changes to the new regulation are in wording and organization. Alongside the season header on page 1, you'll see that our committee chose to clarify for the reader that the May 20th through July 9th season was specifically the season for collecting eyas from the nest, and the September 13th through December 31 season was specifically the season for capturing passage birds in migration. Now, veteran falconers know that already because eyas aren't available after September and passage birds are not generally available before early July, but our license office personnel consistently find themselves having to answer questions about this from the newly initiated. So we've decided to make the language clear in the regulation. On page 2, we've chosen to address what we thought remained confusing about the asterisk statement at the bottom of the page that reads, "Permit is valid during early and late seasons," by lifting the wording up into the first goshawk box and changing it to terms consistent with the wording change I just showed you on page 1. So now when we're talking about that season, we're referring to it in more or less the same terms. So there's no crosswalking. Last time these regulations were set in early 2009, we promised you we would conduct nesting goshawk surveys in Elko County north of I-80 to inform a possible exploration of lifting the take closure from that region as per request by several falconers. In 2009, we conducted helicopter surveys of the Independence and Bull Run Mountains, which constitute the heart of goshawk nesting range in North Elko County. And in 2010, we followed up with ground visits to the nest areas that were documented during the 2009 flights. In 2009, the aerial survey recorded 26 goshawk nesting territories, of which 11 were determined to be active. In 2010, 21 of the 26 territories were visited from the ground, and only one was determined to be active. We compared these findings to data collected during the Boise State Goshawk nesting study that was conducted between 1992 and 2002, when 42 goshawk territories were known in this area, of which as many as 25 were active during any one of those years. These apparent reductions in active and recognizable inactive territories continue to give us pause when considering the status and trend of the nesting goshawk population in northern Elko County. Our biologists on this project suspect that the structure of the aspen stands in these two mountain ranges may be converting to conditions that are less suitable for goshawk nesting through age and attrition. And the nesting pairs are shifting their use on the landscape in response to those changes. We're not at all certain that we have comprehensively covered all of the alternate habitat, nor are we certain that we have found all the nesting pairs that remain. While we will continue to adjust our surveys in 2011 to better answer these specific questions, we have chosen to recommend the retention of the closure of Elko County to goshawk nestling take until we have a more complete, confident picture. of the current status. As an informational item, we wish to remind the Commission of the fact that federal falconry regulations were revised in 2008 with major changes that converts the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service role in falconry licensing away from the licensing of individual falconers to the authorization of states to oversee falconry licensing. The states have until 2014 to align our state falconry regulations with the new federal regulations. In Nevada, we began drafting new regulations in June of this year and are currently working on a review draft to be completed early in 2011. We missed our objective of engaging a public scoping and review process in 2010, and we intend to elevate the priority of the task and reschedule the public review process for 2011. We remain on track to have our state falconry regs aligned to the new federal regulations well before the 2014 deadline.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions first before I take the public question? Mr. Macbeth?
My recollection, I think it was last year that we had. Was it last year that we had the falconers?
Early
2 years.
2009.
Okay, 2 years ago. Okay, that they had some concerns, and I think we made some changes. And so, are all of those changes still reflected in the current proposal here?
It's identical to last year's in terms of content.
Okay.
Question, Ms. Bogler?
Are these different hawks, are they migratory or are they pretty much native to the state?
They're both.
Goshawk?
Goshawk. They're, the young birds tend to be migratory and wander post-fledging. The adults are strong, are pretty hardy and can take the winters in Nevada and often do. So there's some that stay, some that move.
For the record, I would like to tell all you gentlemen how important it is to continue the falconry and having some regulation with these animals. There are several groups that are using these animals just like they're trying to use the sage hen to eliminate public grazing. And as a rancher representative on this board, it's very important that opportunities that we take to show that we manage the game and we do not need as much federal help as they would like to give us, and we do not like and need listings of these animals. It can make the difference to whether you have any ranchers to cooperate with. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll have any questions? Just do questions if we can. Seeing none, public comment on this item. Do we have anybody have a card on this item?
I didn't see any, but
Anybody out there have a public comment? Public comment?
Me?
Yeah.
Your public and cab comment, correct? You said public.
Yes, sure.
Paul Dixon, Clark County. I think I put on mine this number on here. I just wanted to say that the Clark County cab unanimously supported the falconry seasons and regulations. I think Commissioner Vogler said it very nicely. It's very important to have regulations and watch things, which feeds back into what Commissioner Macbeth said earlier about black bears, is that when we manage things and do it, it's important. And I think this is a good regulation. Thank you.
Excellent. And I think all the cabs that I saw supported it, and the one meeting I did go to supported it as well. Go ahead.
Lyon County, Jim Jennings, Lyon County, we supported it. Of course,
Thank-
you know, we late getting them in.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other public comment beyond that cabs supported? Or if any cabs didn't support it, I didn't see that. Okay. Public comment? Seeing none? Take it back to the commission. To start out with, I think it's a good policy. I've asked a few falconers I know, and a few I think it's a fairly the number across the statewide, but I didn't hear back on any issues with it at all. So we're ready for a motion. Unless any comments? Comment? No.
ready for motion?
Yes, ready for motion. Mr. Wallace?
I move to approve Commission Regulation 11-01, 2011-2012 seasons and quotas for taking Raptors for falconry.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been Motion by Mr. Wallace, second by Mr. Capurro to approve this regulation. Did everybody understand the motion? Any questions on the motion? Comments? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to number 13.